that's actually something I've gotten really big with just recently, was like moving my clients into affiliate marketing and functioning a lot of the click flows, like the places that people go after they see your content, functioning, they're like focusing those things all through Linktree, so that it allows everything to kind of just have a nice little ecosystem that it goes to. And inside of Linktree, you can have affiliate marketing, you can have all different types of products. Like the more products you have, the better off you are.
Definitely.
Especially like now.
Oh yeah. I recently just got myself a Linktree with my podcast, on my audio podcast, not my YouTube one yet, but yes, it's convenient. It's super convenient, having all the information in one link, to where people don't have to go looking for it or stuff like that.
And that flow is like what we're used to as far as consuming, like, as far as content. It reminds us of social media. It's very easy to creep. It's very easy to wander. When you find yourself a nice link tree that has lots of good content and good downloads and good referrals and all of that other stuff, like it's built for you to wander. It's built for you to quickly and efficiently move from one place to another. And the more it's a website, it's just more of a directory for your website.
Yep. The NFTs I got from you, I think I was going to the wrong page. Like it was the legendary errors, but I didn't know you had a 5.7 flow page. Like I was typing it in wrong.
Oh yeah, you're good.
So I'm like, damn, you got way more.
Oh yeah. So I have multiple projects, and that's what the 5.7 flow in its full like entirety is really truly about, is like is basically about like being able to interflow different networks into different things and be able to connect these things in a way that allows us to all gain value from them. So that's why I go with different artists, different projects. What you'll see next coming up is going to be a lot more events and just things along those lines, where it'll be more interaction with the NFTs. There'll be more opportunities. Just like how today, if you see, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can see the 5.7 flow token that I just created recently. There it is. Everybody will get one of these once we get our wallets established and everything. So basically today is just kind of going through the flow of the wallet setup, basically what it does, the functions of it, just kind of giving you a brief rundown so that you understand. You might not utilize everything, and some things we might get to a point where it'll just kind of be like, yo, if you actually find out about this, or if you learn about this or are interested in this, you're at a point where you're going to learn it by yourself anyway. Like you'll get to that point where if you start digging deep enough, it's not even about asking me, it's you're already looking for that information, you're going to find it. Like you'll get it very easily if it's something that you want to move into, as far as like swaps or anything like that. Most people, once they get the base information they need to like function and operate with this, they become fully functional in themselves. There's really not a huge amount of things that you have to do. They're vastly different every time that you make a transaction. It's just copying and pasting different contracts over from one place to another. So for you, Mercedes, like, what do you know so far about NFTs? And if you say nothing, that's perfectly fine too. Like lots of people literally no one knows.
I was going to say nothing.
So at the base of it, we'll play this game. I want Leroy and Justin, if you could give us the most basic, and Mercedes, this is a good testament to how little we truly know about everything, is like, if you can put it in a nutshell, in an analogy pretty efficiently and effectively, like you have a pretty good understanding of how it functions with other people and how to pay that message across. But for a lot of people, we do this thing where we literally just try to figure out the best analogy possible that works for each person, because we haven't figured one analogy that just works for everything, like an iron sharpens iron. It's not as simple as that. It's like, it's trying to describe something super complex with a very with 2 or 3 words.
Okay. I don't know. I look at NFTs like digital assets, almost like if you going on like Fortnite or like Robux. It's like buying Robux or buying, stuff to where you can get more stuff for your character or whatever the game is. So I feel like it kind of is similar to that in a way, but that's how I look at it.
What about you, Justin?
I mean, like the most basic that I could think of is just like digital content that's linked to the blockchain. And that could be anything from art to...
Those are all words that we need like backup definitions for, Justin. Those are all words.
Okay,
like
so it could be, it could basically be like art converted, basically converted into code, or like any physical art or physical thing converted into a digital piece of code that represents that same object.
Okay.
Or it could be completely original, digitally created content. I mean, there are so many. I mean, they can be videos, they can be music. Like, man, basic is a hard word when you try to describe NFTs. Like,
yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, like it's trying to keep it simple can be difficult because there's so much information. But that's not one thing that we want you to like be scared of. Really, it's anybody could do it. I mean, if you look at how many testimonials you see from kids, like children, taking their artwork and turning it into NFTs, like there's a simplicity to it, and all the complexity that like we are trying to define for you, the difficulty comes from like, it's just, we're a little bit older. It's not as simple for us. For a child, they just see it and they're like, oh yeah, this is what you guys are all doing anyway. And that's really like, if we look at Twitch, if we look at TikTok, any system where you can pay somebody in a native currency, like a token, right? Like you can pay somebody in stars for playing a video game and you enjoy watching them and their commentary, so you pay them more stars. Well, those stars on TikTok can be traded for cents on the dollar, like just by exchanging them back for receiving attention. So basically people are exchanging content for value. So for a lot of younger people, a lot of this is already in that situation. It's already kind of like that. For business owners, I look at it like, if we're looking at these NFTs right here, these are all moments that happen regardless, right? These are all moments that I captured, these legendary era NFTs. No matter what, as a business owner, as a videographer, I could have taken this content and resold it as stock footage, right? I could resell footage of South Bend to the city of South Bend. The only difference now is the value that I'm using to drive this is my social value. I'm making these collectibles. I'm making my journey something that you can buy. I can make a part of my process something that you can purchase. You don't just have to tip me for enjoying the moment. You can own the moment. And beyond that, the perks that come along with just being in a community that I own because I have more than one follower, well, that comes along with it. People start to understand that it's more than just, it's we, not me. It becomes about, well, the amount of owners that we have in this room right now, I mean, between Justin and Leroy, like they own legendary era NFTs, they own Alex Allen NFTs, and those are digital artworks that are literally like, that are extremely dope pieces of artwork. And they're all based off of a real life piece of artwork that originally was made. We're taking all of our content and we're just remaking it into a digital form that we get paid for. And when they say like contracts, that just means that we can attach information to it. So each one of these royalties, I get paid a percentage for every transaction that happens after the first purchase. So it's just a very long list of just like connections, basically. And those connections are secure and they allow us to be able to get our money's worth from every motion that we make. If I decided that I wanted to start creating receipts for all my customers in the form of an NFT, we could do that. And let's say that one of my customers would happen to be Skylar Diggins, right? Like, imagine how expensive that NFT would be. Imagine how much value, how much social value would be put onto that. Because a lot of these people are creating NFTs, and what we see is like, we see people selling things like rocks and shit. Like, like literally just like, we'll look at up the most expensive NFT that we could possibly find right now. And I'll show you, like, people are really buying just JPEGs. And some of these JPEGs really have no true value. Like, there's nothing that they do. Like this picture of Elton John. Let's see. Like, you're not going to get to hang out with Elton John. Some of these NFTs might have something like that, but this person literally took a picture of Elton John, threw a vintage filter on top of it, and they put a 0.09 current price down. They've never sold anything. Like I can see all of their transactions. I can see what they've done. So there's a lot of transparency as far as being able to see the contracts that are going on and who's buying and what's buying and what other things that they buy and other artwork that's very similar to this collection that I might like. But not a lot of them are giving you the real value that other ones are giving you. A lot of these are saying that like, hey, if you own one of these tokens, you'll be able to have later value that will be given back to you. Like, for example, I think this one has some kind of percentage they pay you for ownership, something along those lines. I don't remember. I've been seeing this one for quite a bit of time, but each one of them have different things. And once you start to figure out like, oh, these are the type of NFTs that sell, and maybe this is my niche, like maybe I like to buy NFTs or artwork. Right now, they don't have anything that we can do with them outside of theory. We can only think about what we'll use them for with the metaverse, which is the part that everybody's kind of trying to wrap our minds around is what happens next, right? We're playing games, but when do these games become something different? When I used to work in cell phones, I used to sell phones to people and I have to ask them like, how do you pay your bills? One of the girls that I was talking to, like she legitimately said, I build accounts like Candy Crush and I build Clash of Clans accounts and I resell them to people that play those games. That's all people are really doing. Like they're just reselling games. They're just reselling JPEGs. They're just flipping Pokemon cards. Like all of these things that people are buying, if you look at the right ones, some of them will allow you to be in really, really cool groups. Like they'll allow you to have access to things that other people won't have access to. For example, how the 5/7 flow tokens and how that all of that will play out is the particular NFT that we created, right? The one that you'll receive today for just being in this group, that will be able to be redeemed for events. So if we have like a 2K tournament, or if we decided that we wanted to have a poker night where you could win an NFT for just participating in something, whether it be digitally in a Zoom, whether it be in real life, however we decide that we want to do it, you can be rewarded for participation. You can be rewarded with something that other people with exclusivity, you know? So depending on how the project goes, the more value that we drive into this, the more people that own, the more money that flows into it. Everybody eventually just, everyone that can't actually be in South Bend will just see from the outside looking in. And all they see, if they see 100,000 followers, all they'll know is that there's an immense amount of value. They won't know that it's just us doing what we were already doing anyway, going to bars or hanging out with our friends or having an event at a friend's restaurant, whatever it may be. All we did was just attach a token to it. But the exclusivity, people flock towards just people doing something that is interesting. NFTs is a hot word right now. You could drop it on any social media network and get more views than you would have ever gotten before. You know, like it's such an easy play, but we want to look at the why and the how and what makes these things actually like valuable, because outside of being a JPEG or a really cool digital design, like this is just an MP4 video. This is just a basic video where maybe they got this background, they figured out how to put this up, they got a little rotatey thingy here. Like not a lot of these people are actual digital designers, but at this point, who would know the difference? Like who would know? Because all you needed was that blue check mark that really like validates you, that gives you that social standing that allows you to put such an outrageous number right there, because that's what people are doing. They're going viral with it. We don't want to go viral. We want to build something successful, and we want to build something that gives value to the people in the community, because these are the signs of things that are going to get rug pulled. These are the signs of people just flowing money in with no true intent. This is like Fire Festival, where people rush to something because they're all like, oh, they're going to have this and they're going to have this and these luxury condos and it's going to be 20,000, and people are going broke to get that 20,000 because they believe that they're going to buy something that's going to bring their life some crazy value. But when all reality comes through, it's the value wasn't built on infrastructure. It was built on, this looks really cool, so a bunch of people bought it really quickly. So you've set up MetaMask in like the very first place that you've needed to start, or how far have you guys gotten as far as MetaMask goes? Leroy or Mercedes?
Set up completely. I set hers up before we did this, so she's hooked up to OpenSea and all that good stuff. Okay,
so brief rundown. We'll just go to the MetaMask login, just that way we can give everybody that's watching the actual recording the still the same run through. But basically MetaMask is your wallet, your location in which you house things. Just like how you have an Apple wallet, if you have an Apple device, or even Cash App is in a sense a wallet. It just only functions with maybe 2 or 3 currencies and few other options, right? Few other contracts that you can engage in. With MetaMask, this is your portal to be able to search and go to other things within the blockchain, within this version of the internet. This particular version of the internet is contract based. So you need something that allows you to sign contracts as well as look at contracts, interact with them. Anytime you want to heart a particular NFT, there's a contract that will come through and say, are you sure that you want to show this heart right here? So there's a lot of transactions going on, and that's all it really is just a more transacted internet. If I were to post on social media now, well, I just post on social media and it's done. Now this is like posting on social media, except somebody wants to buy my post because they think it's cool. Awesome, we run that. So as far as features, you can use this to swap. So basically exchange any tokens. If you have a particular token, you can exchange like Bitcoin to Ethereum, so on and so forth. And then there's some certain swaps that are a little bit more heavy, more intricate contracts, more in-depth contracts that this is one of those things where if you happen to find yourself trying to make a swap to like the Binance network, you're going to already be working in that direction. Trust me when I say you already have enough energy to figure it out. Like walking you through doing Binance swaps and everything else, that's something where you have to be that deep down the rabbit hole to truly even want it anyway. So at that point, if you were to come to me and be like, hey, what do I do with Binance? Like, I'd just be like, yo, just keep doing, like, just keep learning, just keep finding information, keep going through that process, because there's certain types of contracts and certain types of interactions that are going on that are deeper and even deeper. Like they allow you to do so many different things. There's so many different just intricate things that people can do. And that's the part that people look at that's like kind of difficult. But as far as you saw, MetaMask is literally just download. And then from there, choose which one you have. If you have Chrome, if you have iOS, if you have Android. So if you're doing this on an iPhone, then you have iOS. It'll allow you to pull up MetaMask. And from there, once you download it, you'll be able to see the browser. I'll hop over to my MetaMask in a second so you guys can get the general idea of what it would look like. But same thing with Android. Android phones will always be able to operate a little bit easier with the blockchain because it's more of a computer base. It reads it just like a desktop would read it. With iPhones, because we're more secure, you're going to have limitations, and certain things and certain swaps aren't going to work as well because it requires that contract to be able to fluidly move through your device. It has to be able to move the way that it needs to be able to move because the technology it's not super developed. It's not ready to be put on the Apple store the same way that other apps can. With Android, they'll take that risk, but with Apple, they're very conscious. They're very focused on the experience. So always expect that user friendliness. We give up the ability to have less secure, but more like in-depth interactions with anything on a computer, right? So with that said, you download MetaMask, you get everything set up. I have my MetaMask pinned. Always make sure that you guys write down your key phrases. Do not send them to other people. Do not allow other people to be able to get into your actual key phrases. Those 12 key phrases are super important for your actual wallet, because those are the only ways that anybody could ever steal your information. If you ever do see that you're getting like little what are they called, Justin? Would you call them like shit? What are the ones like those little airdrops? But we used to dusting attacks. Is that what they're called?
Dusting. Yeah.
So like dusting is basically just like tokens appearing in your wallet or NFTs appearing in your wallet. Just don't interact with them. Your wallet is a public address. So I have no problem showing you guys my base wallet right here because anybody could see that. You can see all of my transactions that are going on the blockchain anytime that I do anything. It's the key phrases that give me the access to move money in, out, sign contracts as myself, basically almost like a social or a bank account number. So that's one thing that you do want to make sure you never save it on a computer or anything that can get hacked in your conventional way. You want to put that inside of a safe somewhere where it can be safe. Do you have any questions so far, Mercedes? This is kind of hopefully where you kind of should be to some extent right now.
Nope, everything sounds good so far.
Okay. And you can see right here where it says buy, send. So these are where your interactions can happen. Like if I wanted to buy a particular crypto, I would hit the buy button and it would allow me to either purchase it directly with a card or exchange it and just send it from another wallet. So if I purchased crypto like Bitcoin off of Cash App and I wanted to send it here, I could send it here. I could also send it back to my other wallet. So it functions and it works with other wallets that we're used to. It's just not everywhere. It's not going directly to your bank account yet. It's not set up with your Discover account, anything like that. We're not working with MasterCard yet because crypto is so new. Even these companies are trying to wrap their minds around it. And then you finally have your swap where you're able to exchange one token for another. There are gas fees. So gas fees are basically the cost to make a transaction happen. Gas fees fluctuate. So anytime that there's a lot of transactions going on, it's like being inside of the mall when the mall's super crowded. Well, your likelihood of getting taken care of as fast as you normally would is going to be a lot lower when the mall's busy. But if the mall slows down, well, shoot, you can probably get in and out pretty quickly. But in this situation, I can tip the person that's waiting on us, right? The person in front of the line, or I can tip the person that's ringing everyone out and say, hey, for an extra $20, can you get me through a little bit sooner? And that's really the difference. When you go to do a transaction, if you want to make an exchange or any kind of transaction, there's something you're going to have to pay to be able to make that transaction, almost like taxes. You can pay a higher tax to be able to get this shit to go like within seconds, to get it to go like right away. And then you could just wait. You could wait till, Cyber Monday, right? You could wait till the weekend when prices start to go back down, things kind of normal out. And that's when generally you'll start to get a flow if you're ever trying to make a purchase or do anything like that with a token or a crypto. It's going to have certain fees associated with it that Ethereum is one of those ones where it's a little bit higher because there's such a high value at it, right? There's so much money inside of Ethereum. So that makes it so that anytime you want to make a transaction, yeah, the transaction costs are high because there's people dropping money. There's people dropping $150 to get their transactions done, but it's also because they're pulling out 10,000. Like there's people out there that are really dropping money and moving money around. So that's where you see a lot of the differentials between the way the money moves and what the money can do. All of the things that we're kind of talking about are just different versions of currencies and different versions of contracts, or almost like a stock that you could purchase certain things that just have a fluctuating value. So get a little bit deeper into the actual token. Up here where we were just at, I'm going to send you a doc, and I'll have everybody else, if you guys could, I'll send you the doc as well. It'll basically have a place where you guys can plug in your wallet addresses. So that way, any future events, anything like that, we'll have everybody's wallet address, and we'll be able to send you all the tokens for participating in events and so on and so forth. So we'll use that to be able to kind of communicate effectively between everyone. But with that said, we can get to the interesting part and kind of poke around and look at some NFTs. So as always, where was I going? I was going to OpenSea. IO. Browser, wallet, swaps, gas fees. There is a video on MetaMask, and I will I'll make sure to put that somewhere where everybody can see it. But that video does break down gas fees a little bit more specifically. So if you want to understand a little bit more, if you see yourself going to make a purchase and you see like a $40, $30 gas fee, you're like, oh shit, like, wait, what did he say about that? Go back to that video and just watch it. Some of it will make sense. Slowly but surely it will start to, the verbiage and everything else will start to make sense. It seems almost to any person that's never done it, it's a lot, it looks like coding. It feels like coding. It looks like the things that we never intended to do. But if you just restructure your mind to think of it like how they treated MySpace, where we're plugging HTML and all that crazy stuff they had us doing when we were really young, that's really all it is we're just finding a website and we're copying and pasting it from one place to another to make things go, because we just have to tell the computer what it needs to do. So I'll show you a brief example of like just some code. Does anybody have a project they want to look at in particular, or just like a particular sector of things they want to look at? Like art's a really popular one right now. Oh, I think, is this the one? This is the one that the little girl makes, I think. There's like a girl that's become like, she has like rapidly blown up, and it's because of this artwork that just keeps getting reshared on, it's the long neck women one. I'm trying to find it because it's a little girl that makes them. And there's probably even like fake accounts out there. That's the one thing too, is like as you start to gain speed, like you'll start to see fake accounts that pop up. But long neck ladies, this is the one right here. This is a prime example of like, and we don't even know, this is a 12-year-old digital artist, Nyla Hayes. Each long neck features collaborated signature. So there's 3,333. We see a lot of this too, where we see the repetitive numbers. I'm pretty sure it's just one of those things that as OpenSea and blockchain develops, people are just kind of having their certain trends that they're following. Just like social media, we see trends. Just like how we always see that all of these are usually facing right. Those are just one of the trends that we happen to see because you're looking at the heart button, you're looking at the purchase button, you're looking in that direction. It's something really random, but we see very, very often. And people, so if you're ever like trying to figure out the value of an NFT, the real value that you want to look for is when you see that they have 3,333. All right, cool. So those are the numbers that I'm working with to try to figure out my math as far as how rare this is. So $105 for this particular one. We go down and we look at some of the transactions. We can see this person made a purchase. It's not all the same wallet. So like whenever you see like if it was Matt Bohr, if we saw them make multiple purchases over and over, that's just them moving it from wallet to wallet. They might not even be making purchases. They might be paying someone to make the purchase just to fluctuate the pricing, which is very possible. People will clickbait this. People will get you to purchase things. So like there's people out there that are hardcore working to sell a product. So knowing the difference between what's real and what's not is going to be the big difference. Looking for things like this, a licensing agreement. So like that is something that distinctly somebody put time into. Somebody had to spend time. They have a Discord. Somebody had to put time into that. Twitter. These are all the value points that I'm looking for that let me know this is a legit project. And even then, sometimes they might not be legit. But what separates each individual one is the properties. When you look at the properties, we're looking at 9% of these have this trait. So if I click this, it would show me every last one of them that have ever been created. And I could look at who owns them. I could look at when they were purchased, all the information that will tell me maybe this is a good purchase. Maybe I'm buying something a little bit earlier that could have later value down the road. Who knows? Some of them just kind of come out of nowhere. They're pretty hard they're pretty difficult for a lot of people to kind of guess right now. And what I see is even educated, like very, very intelligent individuals are being scammed by rug pulls because they're just trying to move quickly. Everybody's trying to move quickly. I'm a big advocate for moving with a very decent pace in which we can really take time to understand and get to know what the market's trying to do. Like a project like this for $100, like these are, I would say that this is a pretty solid investment as far as like, it's a 12-year-old girl. Like she's been everywhere as far as social media. I've seen her multiple times appear on different social media channels. So like that is the kind of marketing I can get behind. And on top of that, like think about all the people that are reflipping these that might have purchased these at what, $27. Somebody purchased this at $27 and it's reselling for $100. For someone that is just like waiting just to resell, like this is a huge opportunity to be able to stack and rebuy. And basically, like if you were to look at it, it's almost like what we did with trading with Justin and Leroy and I. Like we all were traders. Like people are literally buying at a certain price and then just riding the buy up. So it all ends up working out to the same exact way that we look at like how our stock market works. It moves up, it moves down. It's just about identifying just key different things that might blow up. That's if you're on the purchasing side. If you're trying to flip NFTs, I think that's significantly more different than just creating NFTs in yourself. If you're an artist, if you're a creative, this is the direction to move into, because all of your artwork, whether it sells now or it sells 5 years from now, you still have a 10% royalty. That always stays. That contract is in the blockchain. Once it's in the blockchain, it's there. As long as you keep that NFT in the blockchain, you can like that, you will always have that royalty. And the same thing to anyone that has someone in their life that is an artist, that is a creative. If you don't have a particular skill set, find something you enjoy and figure out how to make it an NFT, whether it be playing video games or anything. Because if you look at the explore section, you look at all the different categories that we have for someone to be able to purchase. It literally could be anything: sports events, trading cards, utility, A lot of utility tokens will be like event tokens, things like that, but like domain names, all of these things, like there's so many different directions you could go to. You just have to figure out within your niche what direction you want to move into. With art, a lot of the digital art is what's taking off, but we're still seeing JPEGs that are getting their time in the sunlight. Like we're still seeing other programs and other things like this scribble boundaries. Like who is buying this? But people are buying it. So realistically, like, what's to stop you? When I said that on Leroy's post earlier about like making NFTs for your kids, like, why not? Because at the end of the day, like, this could be 10 years from now. Let one of your children be like an artist that truly like takes their career to that level, like they, Hebrew Brantley, like, and they had an NFT from when they were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Like, you're good. You're good. Your kids are good. Like that wallet address, those 12 key phrases, the only people that are keeping those are you, So anything ever happens to me, everyone knows what to do. Like with my wallet address, they give it to my daughter. They make sure that like put that in your will because your wallet address has every royalty that could ever be tied to you. Anything. So that wallet is significantly important. And that's why all of this is so important, is because it's more than just creating now. It's anything that we do, we can monetize. Anything, any motion we make, anything. With Leroy having a podcast, it's a perfect opportunity to take highlights from moments or however you want to do it. Like there's a format and a file that you can upload. People just have to, really there's 7 billion people in the world, so people really don't have to do anything. Eventually they're going to get around to you. Like 7 billion people in the world and only 25% are really savvy to what's going on with NFTs, with crypto. We have quite a ways to go before we reach that moment where it's worldwide, where it's truly hit that level where it's difficult to achieve on this platform. So we only have 5 minutes left. Does anybody want to open it up? Questions, Q&A, things that we can elaborate on a little bit more?
Yeah, do you want to go over? Hold on.
Say it one more time.
I was gonna say, will you go over doing the Ethereum Polygon swap to be able to make purchases?
Yeah. So the easiest way to make a purchase, as far as like just logging in here and just accessing, making a purchase, is going to be by far just like purchasing direct with the card. If you're purchasing an NFT like this one, it has like a buy now section in the NFT. Because I own this one, it's not going to let me do it. Let me hop back over. Try to do this quick. Hopefully this one, I don't know. Dang it. But basically that buy now section will allow you to upload it. Actually, I'll go over here. The buy now is easy. It's just putting your card in and you're good to go. From here, this is the part where it's a little bit more difficult. If you were to purchase, like, let's say Ethereum, and you were to send it over to this wallet, and I wanted to make a purchase on Polygon, I would have to bridge it to Polygon first. It would allow me to put in the amount. So let's say I'm not going to do it with this one, but if I were to put that amount in, it's going to give me the amount that I can actually transfer, because it costs a little something to be able to send it. And then from there, it's going to give me the numbers as far as how much would this cost for me to send, and basically allowing me to make it so that I can use this money to purchase the ones that are on Polygon network. There's 2 different networks, and that's really it's like working on 2 different internet networks. As you can see, the total would be what, 46.88. The cost of the gas fees are relatively high, and a lot of times, because it's Ethereum network, you have to kind of calculate and figure out, okay, this is how much I want to move. This is how much is going to be worth it. So for like me holding NFTs right now that I've sold, it's not worth it for me to pull these out just yet. So I'm kind of waiting and just biding my time until eventually I accrue a certain amount. That's why I say that it's a lot easier to do it directly through OpenSea, because when you purchase with a card, it uploads in the format. You don't have to convert it. You don't have to bridge it over, I don't believe. It just is prepared and ready to go for the Polygon network. Now, if you wanted to move it out, you would then have to bridge it back to Ethereum and then send it to your not Cash App, but like Coinbase or whatever other wallet that you're going to send it to convert it to cash. So there are some levels to it. And if you guys join the Discord, we have the walkthroughs available in there. One thing I do recommend too is like a hard wallet. If you're ever concerned about just like, I don't want to keep it on the internet, I would like to keep my crypto or my tokens on my actual computer, or like on a computer on something physical. They have those as well. I have a link in my link tree that goes directly to a hard wallet that you can get. But basically that's the way that you would be able to just manage the money that you have, manage the currency, even though it might work on Polygon or Ethereum or Bitcoin. It's just you have to make it so that those contracts can communicate so that they can make the purchase. If you purchase directly through it with a card straight through it, just manually type it in, it's a lot easier. But then to get it back out, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult. That's where we want to look at the resources that we give you guys, because it's just going to be kind of a step-by-step until you really get the flow for it. Until you've ran it a few times, it's going to be lunky. It's not going to be easy, but you have to get the repetition to be able to do it. Like once we have that down, I'm not going to say it's user friendly because this is brand new. Everything is rough when it begins. So if you have that expectation, you'll be able to learn through it pretty easily.
I had a quick question too before we end it. So like on MetaMask, like if you have an iPhone or Android, right?
Mhm.
And you want to transfer the collection you have from OpenSea to MetaMask,
Mhm.
like under the token category, do you know how to do that, or does that really matter like when it comes down to it, since it's already stored in OpenSea?
No, so you can move it out from MetaMask. I have to double check it because I'll have to look and see what the document I found for it was, but I'll put that into the Discord when I do find it, because there's a way. I'm just trying to remember, because it's on the Polygon network. A lot of times those contracts you'll have to have a certain setup for it to appear in your wallet, like on
Okay.
if you saw on my Matic wallet, like it had like